Thanks, Brian. Well, day 2 of jury selection in the trial against former Low Country attorney Alec Murdaugh is underway. We know more than 700 summons went out to try to find 12 unbiased people who will decide the fate of Alec Murdaugh. Hundreds already excused yesterday. Fox Carolina's Grace Runkle is live in Walterboro covering the trial. Grace, what are we expecting for day 2 of jury selection?
Well, it's going to be a pretty busy day today. A lot to get done in the courthouse behind me here. Not too long ago, they already started questioning the 4th and final pool of jurors. And, we're actually expecting to possibly have a jury sat by tomorrow and maybe even opening statements tomorrow afternoon. But 9 o'clock this morning, right on the dot, Alec Murdaugh arrived here at the courthouse. Our cameras were rolling as he got out of the vehicle. You can see the coat there over his hands, over his handcuffed hands. Same thing as he did yesterday. Now, as we wait for opening statements, we're taking a look back at some of South Carolina's biggest, most infamous trials. And of course, the murder trial of Susan Smith is one of the first that comes to mind. In 1994, Smith was a 23-year-old mother living in Union, South Carolina, when she killed her 2 sons, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alexander. At first, she claimed her sons had been kidnapped, but the investigation quickly revealed she had drowned them in her car at John D. Long Lake. Now, the case instantly gained national attention, and all eyes stayed on the small town of Union until Smith was sentenced to life behind bars. We spoke with Tommy Pope, the prosecutor on the case, and he says with big cases like Smith's or Murdaugh's, the hardest thing for a prosecutor to do is to stay focused because there are so many distractions.
Ultimately, when you finally draw the jury and begin the case, there's some semblance of peace because now you're really doing what you came there to do.
Smith will be up for parole next year, and we asked Pope if he thinks she'll get parole, and we'll tell you his answer coming up at 4 this afternoon. Back here, we're told that the morning is going to be dedicated to questioning that 4th and final pool of jurors, and then in the afternoon, they're going to have a trial or a hearing for some of the motions that have been filed. Haley.
Grace, you just mentioned them. I know Judge Newman still needs to hear those outstanding motions on evidence, including one that was just filed yesterday by the defense team. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the latest motion has to do with the ballistic evidence, and the defense is saying that they don't trust the conclusions that SLED, the state's expert witness, came up with when looking at some of the shell casings, the cartridge casings that were found at the scene where Maggie and Paul were found on the Murdaugh's property. So they're either asking that the evidence and that expert testimony be thrown out, or they're asking for another hearing to be held so that they can determine whether or not the state's witness is actually an expert.
All right, thank you so much, Grace. We'll be bringing you team coverage of the trial from start to finish, so stay with us on air, online, and inside our free Fox Carolina News app. We also have in-depth coverage on our website. You can watch the trial live through our streaming app on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. Just a note that during jury selection, we can only stream audio, but once a jury is seated, we will have video as well. Meanwhile,